So let's get started. Hello and welcome to our inaugural Advocacy Burst. My name is Tracy Flood. Thank you so much for joining us today. If you want to make a real world impact by learning how and when to reach out to your politicians and elected officials in the United States, then you've come to the right place. Just a little bit about us so you know who's talking to you today. My name is Tracy Flood. I'm the president and co-founder of the Broad Street Institute. I'm currently located just outside of Milwaukee, and the Broad Street Institute, for those that don't know it, is a public health data collective with well over 200 active volunteers from around the world and 1,700 alumni that have been volunteers in the past. We have 5 cohorts a year, and you can see broadstreet.org for more information on how to join us if you haven't been an intern with us yet. We collectively come from very, very different backgrounds, but we all share a common belief that good data can heal the world. And indeed, we were founded in 2020 with strong roots in the open data and open government movement. We will be sharing some really awesome open data, open gov tools today that are made by some really cool developers. We are very proud to be a newly minted nonprofit, registered 501c3, and our mission does include empowering community change through training the next generation of leaders. Today, we will help to lift up your voice. As a caveat, we are not endorsing any political candidates, and we're not lobbying for any one particular bill today. This session is meant to be evergreen, and we're really hoping to empower you and what you hope to accomplish reaching out to your politicians. I want to start with a story. This story is about Anna, who a couple of weeks ago was scrolling through Instagram and came across a breaking piece of legislation. Reading this on a Saturday morning, the legislation had been from the day before. Poor Anna's now spent the next 3 hours, instead of going to brunch, but the next 3 hours doom scrolling through Instagram, looking at people's opinions, looking at people's thoughts on the matter, and liking the thoughts that she agreed with, and maybe wanting to join a peaceful demonstration or a rally, but realizing it was too late to join. And then just by the end, feeling hopeless and frustrated, really started to doubt how the last 3 hours were spent. And I was wondering to herself, did she do the right thing? Did she spend her time well? She spent most of the time feeling frustrated. She spent most of the time agreeing with people that already agreed with her. Was that the right thing to do? Could she have spent her time more wisely? And we're going to say that the answer to that is yes. Actually, in a fraction of the time that Anna spent doom scrolling, she could have contacted all of her legislators at the state and federal level and encouraged friends and family to do the same. And that is exactly what we're going to learn how to do today. So in this workshop today, we are going to cover 3 major learning points, and we'll finish up with trying it out on our own. First, we're going to start with who are your elected officials. This includes state and federal legislators. How do I reach out to elected officials? And even how to supercharge that voice or level up your voice. And we'll give you some tips on that. And then the other key thing is when. When is it the right time to reach out? We'll be going over the who, how, and when, and then we'll be trying it together. I did say the who, how, and when, but actually let's start with why, because some of you might be wondering, why? Why should we do this? Why should we reach out at all to our elected officials? There's a really basic reason, and that is because your elected officials need your vote. They have staff and systems in place to record the views of their constituents. Constituents mean voters in their district, and they want to hear from you. They really do. Maybe they have their mind made up on some topics. Maybe they are looking for constituent opinions on others. There are definitely many times when government officials, elected officials, really want to hear from their constituents. So then comes the next question, which is who? Who are my elected officials? Well, you have many elected officials if you're located here in the United States. Let's just talk about two major branches. Hopefully you remember this from kind of the basics of civic engagement 101 here. There's the executive branch and there's also the legislative branch. There's one more branch that you may remember. These are your elected officials here. Don't forget that your legislative branch actually has two additional houses, the Senate and the House of Representatives. So the legislative branch has those two other groups there. And please do not forget that this happens at both the state and federal or national level. So here I am, I'm just outside of Milwaukee in the state of Wisconsin. We have a governor and lieutenant governor here in the executive branch. The legislative branch here in Wisconsin has a senator and an assembly member. Sometimes the House of Representatives at the state level goes by a slightly different name. But in any case, there are usually two houses there. And then the national level, you have the president and vice president. You also have the Senate, 2 senators for each state, and you also have a representative in the House of Representatives in the US Congress. So don't forget about that state government and also the federal government too. All right, so given all of that, I've obviously got a lot of representatives who I vote for and what district I'm in really does depend on my address. There are different boundaries for different elected officials. I would have a Wisconsin assembly member region, a senator region for my state, a US representative region. The governor and the US senators both are really at the state level. And then of course the president. All right, so it really does depend on the address. The boundaries are all over the place, but we have some really, really awesome tools for finding our elected officials. So I am going to actually click on this right here. All right, so all I have to do, thanks to some of these really awesome open data, OpenGov websites, is type in my address. And in case some of you are wondering, oh no, she's typing in her address. This is not really my address, but nearby. All right, so this really great tool called Contact My Politician does an absolutely stand-up job of using the Google Civic API and shows me my president, my senator, my other senator. Remember, there's 2 representing Wisconsin at the federal level. My House Republican. So this is my House of Representatives elected official, and then also my state Senate, so the Wisconsin Senate, the Wisconsin Assembly, and our governor. If you want to see a ton more local elected officials, you can click here, and also a ton more state elected officials. All right, so the reason why I love this particular tool is because it does a really awesome job of showing me kind of those high level representatives. All right, let's go back to this. So that is who. I've just jotted down the names of some of the names I recognize, some of the names I may not recognize. And let's go to the next step, which is how. So how do we reach out to elected officials? What's the way in which we contact them? It seems really strange to do that. So how to reach out to elected officials? Let's start with just kind of the basics of being polite. So even though we might feel a little bit hot under the collar, even though we might have a lot of passion for a particular topic, it is really important to be polite. That's mostly because you won't be talking to the actual politician, you'll be talking to the staffer, someone who's probably a lot like you, who's working in that office and whose job it is to tally the opinions of voters in that, that politician's district. So It doesn't actually do any good to be rude. It's a really nice time just to be kind and to get to your major issue of concern and also personalize it with a story. All of these outreach to your officials become like data for them, basically seeing which way the wind is blowing in their district. What is the best way to reach out to elected officials? There is a good. So first of all, reaching out to them at all is better than not reaching out to them. They want to hear from you. And if you're a voter in their district, they definitely want to hear from you. So of course you can send a stock email. There are plenty of websites out there that help you to do that. Advocacy websites or some of these open data, open gov websites that we'll be looking at today, they'll help you kind of send that stock form or stock email. You can also send a personalized email. That one really goes a really long way because then they know that you thought about it, that you're a real person and a voter too. Then you can also call them. So I realize that getting a phone call is very alarming and it basically means someone you love is in great distress if you get an actual phone call, but that's not how the politicians consider it. There are staffers and they're ready to take a call and they can even tell you what the politician is possibly going to do on that issue. In any case, they'll take down the information that's relevant, including your stance on the issue, and then also your address as well to confirm that you're a constituent in their region. All right, continuing with the how do we reach out to elected officials. Emails and phone calls are all well and good, but I've got a few people that I've got to be contacting. And so how do I know what to do for each representative? There's a really great website called Common Cause, which does a really amazing job of showcasing the different ways in which to reach out to each elected representative. You're going to see as I scroll down here why I started in the contact my politician, which only gave me a very short list. I jotted down the names and now I'm here. This is a very long list and I don't want to get lost in all of these representatives. So let me just look up here, Dale. You can see that they have a phone number where you can reach them. They have a homepage and a Facebook page and also they're on Twitter, which is great. If I click on this more details, it'll show me some additional information. Now, Common Cause has additional features at the federal level. This is my state senator. At the federal level, they have even more information. They have the different committees that the person is on. They have bills that that person has sponsored. And they also have contributors. So it does take a little while to load, but they have contribution data. So did they get their money from individuals or from PACs? Did they get it from any particular industry? And you can see the different contributions as well. This is for one of my senators. In any case, back to the contact information, I could also go to the homepage. The homepage often has a contact form. And if you don't see anything else other than a homepage, then rest assured, by law, they have to have a way for constituents to contact them. So the contact page will be on their homepage. All right, Common Cause, great, filled with lots of information. All right, so even if I'm calling or if I'm writing a personalized email, what should I say exactly? So first of all, I start with the standard salutation. Dear representative, I'm a constituent in your district and a voter. I'm writing to urge you to take action on, and this is where I would put in the issue or the bill that I really wanted them to act upon. And this is how it affects me. Feel free to give them your story to personalize this message. Thank them for their time sincerely, and then including your address is a really awesome way for them to know that you're definitely in their district. So you'll notice that I have kind of this like polite sandwich, polite at the beginning, polite at the end, and personalized in the middle. I also want to point out that I mentioned these key things. I'm a constituent in your district. I am a voter. They will be able to see whether or not I vote actively. They won't know who I voted for, but they will know that I voted in the last election, for instance, which is why it's really important to be a voter. It's not just to vote, but it's also when you reach out, your message gets that kind of level up because they know that you're an active voter. All right, so again, they won't know who you voted for, but they would know that you go to the polls. All right, so I'm a constituent in your district and a voter, and including your address shows indeed that you are in their district. Now we come to when should we reach out to elected officials? When? All right, the very, very first question to ask is there an urgent issue coming up for vote? Is there something coming to the floor? Is there something going to committee? Is there something coming up that seems urgent? If the answer is yes, contact them now. Don't wait unless you are currently at work or at your day job and your day job prohibits lobbying. For instance, if you are at a state public health department or another government agency, you may be prohibited from lobbying. How they define lobbying might include reaching out to advocate for a particular bill. It might be that it's all right to contact them after work or during a lunch hour as a private citizen if you are contacting your representative. Contacting other people's representatives might be considered lobbying. This isn't anything to be afraid of, but please definitely know that your work or your job might have some restrictions, and it's always good to know. Feel free to do it on your personal time as a private citizen. All right, if no, there is not an urgent issue coming up for vote, it is absolutely okay to contact them anytime, to say hi, to introduce yourself, to tell them about the issues that matter to you, and to say thanks. If they've sat on a committee or sponsored a bill that you thought was particularly impactful, whether or not it got passed, it is absolutely okay to say thanks, and people often forget to do that. So it is absolutely okay to reach out anytime, introduce yourself. That'll really give them an idea, a little bit more of an idea of who the constituents are in their district and who might be voting for them in the next election. All right, so now the question comes up of how do I know if there's an urgent issue? Is now a good time to be reaching out? There is another awesome tool that we'd like to showcase called Gov Track. Gov Track was created by, I believe, a professor, and I'll show you some really cool features of Gov Track. So Gov Track is actually a fairly big website with lots of different options. They do have a bills and votes section, so you can actually see all of the things that are coming up. 8 bills and resolutions are on the House and Senate calendars for the upcoming days. This is a really cool website, and kudos to this person for having so much information in here. They also abide by open data, open gov, and they even have, like, they share their code and everything else. And if you want to donate to this, I just want to point out they have a Patreon link at the bottom. All right, I'm going to pick the very, very top one, and I'm going to show you how much information is actually in this cool website. All right, so access to veterans to Records Act. All right, so right now it gives an overview, it gives a summary, it gives a list of co-sponsors. So if you see your representative on here and you're like, gosh, thank you so much for pushing, putting yourself on this bill as a co-sponsor, details, text, and study guide, very cool. Let's just go back to the overview. Even scrolling down, you can see all of the different co-sponsors. You can see that they've pulled it from an OpenGov website, and you can see any quotes. You can even see the history. So if you remember, for a bill to become a law, I have that, I'm just a bill sitting here in Capitol Hill song in my head. But for a bill to become a law, it has to get passed at both the House and the Senate, and will originate in either. And this gives you some really cool information here. All right. Then if I wanted to track it, I can click here. If I wanted to call or write Congress, this website does a really great job of showcasing where the person is. They tell me I live in Wisconsin's 5th congressional district. My representative is Scott Fitzgerald. All right, so this particular bill is currently pending before the House of Representatives, so we'll help to connect you with your representative. They actually say that this is the time to write to Representative Fitzgerald, and this is how you contact Representative Fitzgerald. They do have their own website. That's how you contact them. I've actually already contacted them. And they give you an idea of what to say if you support the bill or if you oppose the bill. This is what you would say. And then if you call them, then this is what you would say if you support the bill. This is what you would say if you did not support the bill. Then the staffer will ask you your address, and thank you for your time. All right. Very, very cool, very comprehensive tool on Gov Track US. So let's do a recap of the cool tool recap here. We have Contact My Politician, which is a great tool for just seeing that short list of the representatives and senators that you have at the state and federal level. Common Cause does a really great and comprehensive job of showing you the different ways in which you can reach out to that representative. And Gov Track lets you know what federal issues are particularly pressing. All right, now we're going to try it. I will be stopping the screen share here, and I'll be sharing a document for those that are in the Zoom room that will give you a how-to step-by-step. And of course, you can use this document anytime, but you can also use it right now if you'd like to contact your representative. Often during sessions such as this, you can actually call your representative right in it. But we also understand some of you might be at your day job and have to check those policies. So with that, I will stop the share and I will